Hello everyone, how's it going? It's Corey here from Lakeside Aquascaping. I want to show you guys all these little isopod things that I have growing, or not growing, living and reproducing all over the place in my tank. They're these little white things that you see everywhere. You can see some of them moving down at the bottom. And they're in all three of these tanks pretty badly. All the tanks with the shrimp seem to have them. Um, but this tank that I put my beta fry into, there is no more. So I'm going to, well, I already did. I moved some of my beta fry into here, and you can see them snacking away. There's one back there and one here. I only put 3 in the tank because, like, I think if I put too many, they'll eat all the isopods really quickly and they'll graduate to the shrimp quite fast. Where this, I think I'll be able to leave these 3 guys in here for a couple of days maybe. And I just picked the 3 smallest ones out of the fry tank right next to it. So it will also help keep them, away from the bigger ones, and it'll allow them to get more food and possibly catch up in the growth. But we'll see how that does. So there's the 2 dark ones and then the one little white guy up here, but the 2 dark ones are hanging out down below. And they do kind of chase the shrimp around, but for the most part the shrimp are pretty smart and get out of the way. And then they've realized that these isopods are all over the place, and they've started eating those, which is awesome. That's my entire intention, and it's a free food source, right? So that'll be great. And after they get done with this tank, I might move a couple of little ones into this tank as well, or into this tank here. But there is a guppy in here, a tummy glider, so I don't know how they'll do with her. It might be a good idea to introduce them as fry, though, to some other fish. Just let them realize, like, hey, this is what a community tank looks like. This is how you guys will be living. So this is just one of the many uses that you can use fry for in your fish room. If you have any little pest creatures living everywhere, like I do, this is how you can take care of them. Just gonna give you guys a little silence and B-roll here. I might give some commentary on it a little bit, but for the most part, I'm just gonna show you guys the how these beta fry are hunting the isopods. Because I'm getting some enjoyment out of watching them. You might as well. So I'll follow the white one for a little while because that one's easiest for us to see. Going up for a quick gasp of air. Don't go behind the rock. Alright, we'll move on to this silvery one. Also going up for a gasp of air. You can see him just picking them off the glass there. And for the most part, the betas are not attacking the shrimp. They were very curious about them when they first got in the tank, obviously, because they were like, oh my god, what are all these red things that I've never ever seen before in my entire life? And they move. There's so many. And then they quickly realized, like, oh, this isn't our tank. This belongs to them. What are these little white things? Those are tasty. They just started mowing on them, and they probably won't stop eating ever. Like, that's what fry do, right? They cruise around and they eat all day long and get big. But that one in the back, it actually looks like he's starting to get a swim bladder problem. Looks like he's floating. So he might be snacking too much. Here's another one of the dark ones coming up in the front. Let's see if he gets into the shrimp pile here at the broccoli, if he'll scare them or what'll happen. So this guy's kind of neat. He's got mostly dark features, but he does have like that white side on him. He's got a couple of white spots on his other side. So it'll be neat to see what these guys turn into. Here's the white guy coming back up. Or girl. I have no idea. All three of them are having a little meeting. This guy down here, he's scaring away some of the shrimp. But the bettas don't really care, right? Like, they're an apex predator, so they'll eat whatever fits in their mouth. Most of these shrimp are too big, but I'm certain that there's babies in here. And I know that these bettas could fit a baby in their mouth because they had, one of the other bettas had a blue shrimp in its mouth. It was just hanging onto the tail, but it can definitely fit part of it in its mouth and chew it up and kill it, kind of thing. Eat it that way. But for the most part, they're just eating these isopods, which is the ultimate goal of why they're in here. I think it's so cool, just using fish to solve, or using things in your tank to solve other problems in your tank. Because I'm sure these little creatures produce ammonia. Might not think it's much, but when you get millions of them, you know, they're probably producing as much ammonia as the shrimp at like mass numbers, right? I think the shrimp will always produce more because they're bigger, and like I have a lot of them, but I think if you had a tank of isopod things and like you let it just like fill up with millions, fed them really good, this is actually a great food source for the fry. Like, they're loving it, and it's giving them lots of exercise because they move all over the tank, where like when I feed, they often just come to the spot that I'm feeding, and then they don't move around very much, right? So this is a very good way for them to develop, helps them grow muscle and all kinds of stuff like that. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. There'll be lots more content like this in the future.